Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdog's Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, today I have two more bizarre alien stories. In one account, we have a Mantis alien being seen by a young witness, and in another account, this family had to deal with an alien home invasion. Let's get into the first article. Childhood Mantis humanoid encounter near Festerville, Pennsylvania raises parallels to the Musconetcong River case. Let's get into the article now. In the wake of investigations into Mantis-like humanoid encounters along the Musconetcong River in New Jersey, a reader came forward with a long-suppressed childhood experience that now carries unsettling clarity. The account predates modern disclosure narratives, yet mirrors contemporary descriptions with striking precision. The proximity and consistency raises important questions about continuity, location, and long-term contact phenomena. The witness states that your articles prompted him to finally reassess an experience from his earliest childhood, one he had long dismissed as an unusually vivid dream. That interpretation changed after his brother directed him to a video presentation by former Canadian Defense Minister Paul Hellyer, who spoke publicly in May 2013 about the presence of non-human intelligences and alleged cooperation between governments and extraterrestrial beings. This led the witness into further research, including public remarks attributed to Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev in early 2013, suggesting that the global disclosure regarding non-human entities was inevitable. While the witness states he had always accepted the likelihood of extraterrestrial life as a logical reality, it was not until he encountered detailed descriptions and illustrations of Mantis-like beings that his childhood memory resurfaced with force. He describes the experience as occurring around 1971 or 1972 when he was approximately 2 years old. At the time, his family lived in the Top of the Hill apartment complex in Festerville, Pennsylvania. He recalls finding himself outside the building at night on a sidewalk below their third-floor apartment. He has no memory of how he arrived there and emphasizes that he could not have done so on his own. Standing beside him were three tall beings that closely resembled what are now commonly referred to as Mantis entities. Despite their appearance, the witness reports no fear. Instead, he felt calm, safe, and emotionally reassured, with a strong sense that the beings were friendly and familiar. He recalls being asked something, though the content of the communication is lost to memory. He believes more occurred during the encounter, but describes his recollections as fragmented, as if only portions of the event remain accessible. He remembers watching the beings fade from view, accompanied by a warm, emotional impression of trust and companionship. Moments later, his mother rushed outside in a state of panic and carried him back inside the building. The witness notes that his memory was always stood apart from others in his childhood, vivid and persistent, yet inexplicable until recently. Years later, while conducting an image search related to Mantis beings, he encountered one of your Musconetcong River Mantis Man articles. The geographic reference immediately stood out. Although he currently resides in Missouri, he grew up in New Jersey near Medford, making the New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania corridor deeply familiar to him. He was further unsettled to discover that Festerville is less than an hour's drive from Musconetcong River area. As he read the reports, he was struck by how closely the witness descriptions matched what he had seen as a child. The realization, he states, brought chills and a sense that his experience may have been something far more than a dream. The witness concludes by expressing openness and interest in discussing the experience further. And I have to say, I kind of agree with him, folks. Further discussion would be good. Maybe other memories could basically rise to the surface, perhaps, or maybe our friend here could undergo post-hypnotic regression therapy and maybe more memories would surface. Either way, folks, his article and story are very strange. Remember, in his state where he met these Mantis beings, he had fragmented memories, which basically, as others have pointed out, basically is indicative of basically being in an altered state of, or basically altered frame of mind, causing you to basically be in a state where basically these kinds of encounters have been noted by others to have occurred before. Basically people have encountered aliens often basically feel that their minds are a bit different at the time, as if they're in an altered state of consciousness. The witness's statements there really align with these sorts of stories, folks, so it makes you think that maybe there's more to it. Either way, a very strange story, folks, and I would love to hear if our witness or experiencer has more to share in the future. Either way, let's continue with the next article. Alien Home Visitation Report describes human-like beings and silent craft activity in Wallingford, Connecticut, and hear about this alien home invasion case that affected this family. Let's read it now. In mid-March 2015, a Wallingford, Connecticut resident submitted an extraordinary report describing repeated encounters with human-like entities and multiple aerial craft over a 9-day period. The activity allegedly extended into the witness's home and surrounding property, raising questions about long-duration contact events and family group phenomena. The report stands out due to its emotional intensity, domestic setting, and parallels to earlier multi-entity visitation cases. The witness stated that over a 9-day period, they observed numerous human-like individuals and multiple craft of varying sizes operating near and above their residence. According to the account, some of the beings entered the home but appeared more curious than hostile. On several occasions, the witness heard movement and voices coming from the cellar and went to investigate. Upon doing so, they reported seeing males, females, children, and individuals who appeared to be older males and females whom the witness assumed were parents or elders within the group. These individuals were also observed outside in the backyard, which borders an open field, which is extraordinary, folks, and bizarre to say just the least about it. But let's continue with the story, folks, because there's more to it. The witness described seeing the beings raise and fall in tall pine trees on the property, estimating the trees to be about 50 feet or more in height. They appeared to ascend vertically along the tree line in a controlled manner, as though using anti-gravity or some form of lift technology. The witness believed this was how the beings boarded larger craft positioned above the area. Entry into the home was described as unusual. The witnesses stated that the entities appeared capable of manipulating window locks and raising windows without physically touching them. While the beings were perceived as non-aggressive, they seemed cautious and hesitant to reveal themselves fully. Over time, the witness eventually reported meeting one unusual-looking male entity face-to-face. Communication, when it occurred, was described as very quiet. The witness noted that the beings spoke at a low level and could not recall seeing their lips move during speech. So, very bizarre, folks. So these beings are telepathic, from what I can get here, folks. Or maybe they're able to talk through some sort of device, perhaps, not needing to basically move their lips. Perhaps, or perhaps not. But let's move on. The witness also stated that they had been in contact with a MUFON investigator in Manchester, Connecticut, named Steve, though the investigator's last name and contact information were lost after a computer crash. The witness expressed urgency to reestablish contact, stating that there was additional information they could not easily type or summarize. A particularly distressing element of the report involved the witness's belief that the beings blamed them for failing to protect one of the children who had allegedly died. The witness described the emotional state of one grieving entity and expressed fear that this misunderstanding placed him and his family, them, in danger. No photographs were obtained. The witness stated that the entities appeared briefly and avoided cameras, adding that the phone camera itself seemed to drive them away. The witness concluded the report by expressing fear, confusion, and anxiety about the being's intentions. I agree with the experiencer here, folks. I mean, this might be the first time I've heard about one of these beings actually being hurt in such a case, folks. Well, pretty much. I've heard basically some hyperbole about people shooting at Bigfoot and not being successful. But here we have a case of this alien being, a young one at that, being killed, perhaps, and the alien entity's parents blaming the experiencers here. That is very revolutionary, because it's maybe one of the first cases I've ever come across like that before, folks. Is it possible that these alien entities could actually threaten this family with real harm, folks? That is a terrifying thought. And what did the witness actually do that caused, or basically was an attribute to the death of this young alien child? Why did this happen? Why were they on these people's property to begin with as well? How do they have these abilities? And are they actually telepathic? Or, as I said earlier, folks, were they using some sort of device, maybe an implant, basically in their bodies that basically makes sound verbally to be heard? I'm kind of thinking that they might be telepathic, but we can't rule out actual advanced technology here, folks. Either way, both accounts we've read today are truly bizarre, and I'd love to have more information about them in the future. Either way, we're now at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.